Hi, and welcome to How You Grow Your Business with Kevin Willett. As you can see, I have my friend Emily with us from EG Creative. Emily, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having me back on.
So, jump in, give us a little bit of an overview of yourself and the business before we jump into the question.
Sure. So I am an SEO writer and consultant. Through my business, EG Creative Content, I work with a variety of companies and agencies to help them figure out what people are searching for that's related to their business, and then create content and web pages that are targeted specifically to get search engines like Google and even tools like ChatGPT to pick up that information and show it to people who might be potential customers.
That was easy. So, Emily, I really love the world we live in now because there's so many free resources to build websites. Because I know, and I've had a lot of friends build them, and sometimes they're really expensive. And now you look on, there's all these different sites. You can build it for free, and I'm like, sign me up for that. That's a nice savings. And they'll promise you SEO. This is a great SEO website. How do I know if that's really true?
That is a really good question. So, a lot of times when you see those build a free website offers, it's through a company that is what we'll call a website builder. It's a way to create pages, create a website without having to know any computer code. You can click and drag things where you want them on the page. There is nothing inherently wrong with using those. That is a perfectly legitimate and fine way to make a website. And any major website builder, like I won't name names, but if they could potentially appear in a Super Bowl commercial, because many of them will run those commercials, they're probably going to be fine to use. Not some no-name thing, but they're reputable. The catch is, though,
Yep.
that the truly free version will not work for your SEO. So normally, when you sign up for these, they'll say, "Hey, you get a completely free website with a free domain." The domain is like the www
Yep.
dot website address. Well, the way that works is it'll be your company name dot thewebsitebuildercompany.com. That is not going to help you for SEO. That is what's called a subdomain, and it's just one of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of pages owned by this website builder company. It's really not going to do anything for you in terms of SEO. It's very hard to have any control over how much you can optimize it because the website builder's company appearing in the domain is always going to override anything you do. So what's important is you can use one of these website builders, but you need to pay for one of their subscriptions. You don't have to pay for the most expensive one. A lot of them offer something that's around $10, $12 a month. That's fine. You just need to make sure that you're paying for a plan that lets you have a custom domain name. And I can't think of any website builder that won't help you get a domain name. Like you can just, when you pay for it, when you subscribe, there's usually a process that walks you through to pick a domain name and add it to your website. They make it very simple. Um, you want to make sure you do that and that you have a domain name that's associated with you or your business. And that is how people find your website. They don't have to they don't have to type in your company name dot websitebuildername.com.
All right, can I have my bonus question now?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I always want a bonus question. So we get emails all the time from people. Let me do a free website audit to see if you optimize for SEO. And I'm like, well, of course they're going to tell me I'm not because, they want to fix it for me. How do I know, like, if I really am have the optimized website for SEO?
That's a really good question. It's funny, I get those emails too, and I am someone who does website audits. I'm like, you clearly didn't read my website if you're offering me the audit.
Yeah.
Uh, you are correct though, 9 times out of 10, probably even 9.9 times out of 10, they're going to come back and say, oh, here's all these problems and you need to pay us to fix it. That said, there can legitimately be problems with your website that you're not aware of because you can't see them on the surface
Yep.
that only an audit can uncover that if they're not fixed, will keep you from ranking highly in search results. Like you could be creating the best content in the world, you could have everything set up correctly, but if there's something in the code on your website, something on the back end that you can't see that's wrong, all of your efforts will be for naught. You're just going to be spinning your wheels. So, how to find out? There are some tools that will let you do a basic free site audit if you own a website. The problem is that those tools basically just give you a bunch of information and then it's up to you to figure out what's good and what's bad. And if you've never done this before, that's can be really overwhelming. Um, so if you're wondering, is there something wrong with it? Like if you've been putting a lot of SEO work into your site and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, that can be a sign that you do need an audit. I would suggest looking for someone on your own and reaching out to them and getting quotes versus replying to any of those people that are coming in your inbox. Like, I never send out messages to people through their website saying, oh, hey, here's a free audit. People find me and I will do an audit and I will present them with a report that details in plain English what's going on, what does it mean, and how concerned do you need to be about it. And then I help them figure out like, is that something that they feel comfortable tackling on their own now that I've explained it to them in normal everyday terms? Or is it something that they want to have me fix? A really reputable provider is going to give you options. They're not going to give you a scary list of things that are wrong and promise that it'll be fixed if you pay them $100 a month.
Yep. All right. So bonus question now. It's because
Mhm. Go for it.
expectations, Emily. I guess that's the biggest thing. We're out there, we're blogging, I'm doing videos every day. And you expect like if it's Wednesday and I've been doing it since Monday, man, I should probably be on the first page of Google by now if you search for something. And sometimes, companies promise you things and you're like, I want to be on the first. Of course, I want to be on the. Who doesn't want to be on the first page of Google? I mean, everyone in the world does. But it's using me as an example, like with networking, as we were joking before the show, there's a lot of really big networking companies out there I'm competing against and stuff. So I may not easily get on the page one. What's a reasonable expectation if you're blogging, a couple times a week and you're keeping your website updated? How do you know if you're doing good? Because we all just go on and go, still on page 412. And you just like get discouraged. What's reasonable if there is such?
It's really good. Yeah, there is a reasonable time frame. So while it is technically possible to write something and rank right away, you have to have a blog going for years and have a big profile, and there's all sorts of things that go into it. It's not realistic for the average business. For the average company, I say this. If you've just started working on SEO, it's going to take at least 6 months for you to start seeing results. And that's not like write one blog post in January and then in July be like, okay, where is it? That is 6 months of regular effort on your part, like posting maybe twice a month, making sure that your website is accessible and looks nice and is easy to use. 6 months from starting point zero. Once you've been doing that on a regular basis and you've begun to like build up that SEO traction, generally speaking, it's reasonable to expect that your new content that you've put on your site will start getting picked up by search results within about a month. If, and here's the big if,
Yeah.
you are actually writing content for or creating web pages around keywords that people are searching for, and you are bringing some value to the search results that doesn't already exist there.
Yeah.
So, um, a lot of people I know are very interested in creating web pages, blogs using AI. And they're just having the AI, they're giving it a topic and they're having it write a blog post and they're putting it on the website. The issue with that is that AI summarizes information that it has scraped off the internet or that has been
Yep.
fed into it. So if I were to tell ChatGPT to write a blog post for you about business networking, it would pull together information that already exists on business networking, that's already on blog posts that rank for that term, and it would spit out something very similar. Yeah, things shuffled around, but there isn't going to be any net new idea in there, and there's not going to be any firsthand experiences because it's a computer bot. Whereas if I were going to sit down and write a blog post on business networking myself, I could look at what's already out there. I could say, okay, all of these websites that appear in Google are talking about certain topics. What can I add to this that they're not covering? What have they missed? Maybe you and I would sit down for an interview and I'd get your firsthand experiences, have you answer specific questions, and I'd put all that into a blog post. Then I'm bringing something different that doesn't already exist. So that's an important part of it too. If you're just kind of regurgitating what's already there, that month time frame is going to stretch out longer and longer.
So, Emily, if people have more questions about this topic, what's the best way to reach out to you? How can they learn more?
Best way to reach out to me is through my website, agcreativecontent.com, or find me on LinkedIn. I put a lot of information, tips, resources, things I find interesting on there. So feel free to connect with me.
Awesome, Emily. Appreciate you taking a few minutes calling the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thanks, Kevin.